Hey gang, Christian here with you for another episode of CETIS Design's Quick Tips. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to create a quiz or exam in Blackboard. Now, I'm on my CETIS Designs homepage, and I need to go to where I want that particular exam or quiz to live. So I'm going to go down here, let's say to Module 5. And once I'm in the module, I'm going to click on this Assessments drop-down and choose Test. Now in doing so, I'll have the option to either select an existing exam that I may have saved to the course or create a new one. In this case, we're going to go ahead and create a new test. So the first thing you want to do is title your test and give it a description. So we'll say covering chapters 1 through 5. And then instructions. So for example, if the test is timed, so 60 minutes timed, and pardon my spelling, whoops, and pardon autocorrect. There we go. And then let's say I have 30 questions times 1 point per question. There we go. Okay, something to that effect. And then I'll click Submit. Now it's going to ask me to go ahead and enter in the questions. Now from Blackboard, you can actually upload questions, so like a question set, or a block of questions, but let's say you haven't done any of that and we want to go ahead and create them from scratch. So if you click on the Create Question drop-down, you are given a whole host of different choices, everything from an essay, fill in the blank, matching, multiple choice. So I'm just going to go with a pretty simple true-false. So I'll just call this true or false test question. And then here's where you're going to put in your question text. So let's say, who is the coolest ID in CETIS? Question mark. Chris. And then we'll go down and we'll say answer is true or false. And of course, Chris is the coolest ID, so we'll mark that as true. And then you can give yourself some answer logic or some feedback, if you will. So for a correct response, you could say, yes, he is. And for incorrect responses, we can say Chris is swag. Okay, instructor notes, that's really just for your benefit. It kind of gives you an idea of what's going on in this question, so it maybe helps you in the grading process later. All these categories and keywords, I encourage you to kind of steer away from that. It just kind of muddies the water for Blackboard. Once you've got your question in, you can either click Submit and create another question, or just Submit. And for this example, we'll just click Submit. And there we go. So there is the question. And then from here, I can decide the point value. So we can look over here on the right-hand side, and you'll see that the question is currently 10 points. I can update it there, or if you have multiple questions on the quiz and you want them all to be the same point value, I can click Select All, point value, let's say 2 points per question, and choose Update. And then in doing so, you'll notice that it updates the points, and if there were multiple, they would all be updated at that point as well. Okay, so we've got all of our questions uploaded. I'm going to click OK, and it's going to take me back to this page. Now we've seen this before. Now I want to select Test 1, which is the one I just created, and click Submit. And that's basically telling Blackboard that's the one I want to insert into this module. So now I'm given the Test Options section where I can put in some more descriptions if I would like, and then make some selections here along the bottom. So the first section here is, do I want to show the description to the students before they begin? Yes. Do I want them to see the instructions? I do. Open the test in a new window. Now that's a preference. Typically I prefer to keep it within the same window so it stays in Blackboard and it's not opening a new session. Test availability, we want it to be available. If you mark no, the students can't see it. Multiple attempts, if you want to give them several tries on the exam. Force completion. That means that once this test has been started, the students have to complete it. They can't come back and revisit it later. So I'm going to say yes, I want that. Timer, I'm going to give them, the question I put in shouldn't be that hard, so I'm going to give them 5 minutes to complete it. And then auto submit, on or off. If you select on, that means as soon as the time is expired, it's going to save and submit. Display dates, so if you want to have a specific open time for the exam, let's say you open it on a Friday and it closes on a Saturday, you can specify those dates and times here. A password if you need it. Test exceptions. Now this is typically for a DSO accommodation. Let's say you have a student that has to have extra time, or if they get in touch with you and they say, hey, you know what, I'm going to be out of the country for a vacation during the time of that test. Can I take it at a different time? You can set an exception for specific users or groups. Due date, we're going to say that this test is due today at the end of the day. So we'll mark that in a day. Do not allow students to start the test if the due date has passed. Well, I'm going to say yes to that, because if you didn't take it when I told you to take it, you're not going to take it. Include the test in grade center calculations. Yes, I do want to do that so that they are scored and that score is reflective of their final grade. The second one, hide results. I really encourage you to stay away from that. This second option here is typically used for peer review only, and if you choose that, the student can see their specific results, but it is not included in the Grade Center, and you as the faculty or staff who's running this course cannot see the student's answers. It's a tool only for peer review, so stay away from that unless you've got a specific venue for it. Number 6, show the results to the students. You can do it after submission or any combination of all this. What I like to do is after the submission, I'm going to show them their score per question, but then on a specific date, let's say 2 days after the exam, I will show them their score plus all the answers, the correct answers, and what they submitted, and then the feedback that I entered. Test presentation all at once or one at a time. That's basically they'll see all the questions on a single page, or they'll have one question per page. One question per page does eliminate some of the accidental markings where, let's say they use the scroll wheel and it accidentally changes an answer without them knowing. But it does take longer for them to do the exam because Blackboard has to load new pages per question. So if it's timed exam, that's something to bear in mind. Prohibit backtracking. That just means after they submitted a question, they can't go back and change it. And then the last option here, randomize questions. That will change the order that the questions are presented per student. Okay, once everything's done, I'm going to click the Submit button, and then bazinga, my test has now been uploaded to my course. Now, let's say you want to have some specific availability of this exam, where they have to do something before the exam opens. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the little drop-down and choose Adaptive Release Advanced. And then I'm going to create a rule, and we're going to call this rule Rule 1, and choose Submit. Now it's going to want me to put in the criteria. So what is it that the students have to do before this exam opens to them? So I'm going to click the criteria, and let's say I want them to have a specific grade or an attempt of something else in the course. So I'm going to hit this drop down, and I'll say I want them to have taken, let's say Assignment 1. They have to finish Assignment 1 before they are able to access the exam. Now I can put in a specific score or percentage or a range for that assignment, but I'm just going to leave that as long as they have an attempt, it's going to be open to the quiz. So I'll click Submit, and there we go. So now I see as long as they have a grade in the Grade Center for Assignment 1, they will be able to access the exam. There we go. And now you can tell that that has been activated by seeing this enabled adaptive release on your test. All right, so I hope you found this particular tutorial helpful on creating an exam in Blackboard. As always, we encourage you to reach out to us here at CETIS Design if you need anything. Our email address is cetishelp@uc.edu. And as always, we will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.